two season ticket holders with the good, the bad, and the ugly today on Locked On A's.
You are Locked On A's, your daily podcast on the Athletics, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On A's, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I am your host, Booney, one name, all passion. And I've been riding with this squad for 4 decades now. And let me tell you, the A's are not just some scrappy underdog anymore. We are the storm rolling in, from Ricky to the Bash Brothers, from the Big Three to the Vegas Blueprint. This franchise has always found a way to flip the script. And right now, these kids are turning MLB upside down, and the rest of the league cannot stand it. Stick around. We are building a desert dynasty, and you do not want to be late to the party. We are free and available wherever you get your podcast, including YouTube. So do me a favor and hit that subscribe button wherever you are following the show. And if you are in Nevada, you can catch Locked On A's Monday through Friday at 12:30 p.m. on Silver State Sports and Entertainment, Digital Channel 5.2, and Cox Channel 77. It is the off season for the A's, but on Locked On A's, we don't have an off season. We are still covering the A's every single day. And today, we have a hell of a show lined up for you. A's season ticket holders Mike and Dan stop by and talk about the shocking truths about the 2025 Sacramento experience at Sutter Health Park. Is this a glimpse into the team's Las Vegas future? Mike and Dan break down the highs and lows of being A's season ticket holders at Sutter Health Park, from prime seat locations to eye-watering concession prices. They offer an insider's perspective on the temporary relocation. The discussion covers the challenges of the secondary ticket market, missed opportunities for fan engagement, and potential hurdles awaiting the A's in Sin City. Will the A's find success in Las Vegas, or are they destined to strike out? Today's episode is brought to you in part by FanDuel. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you will get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. Download the app today. Dan, Mike, 2025 season is over at Sutter Health Park. The first season there, 2 season ticket holders. Give me your overall experience as season ticket holders, the good, the bad, the ugly.
Yeah, I mean, just at a high level, and obviously can jump into the details on this. The reason why I did it, I'm actually not an A's fan. I'm a Chicago Cubs fan, and the kickoff series, right, was against the Cubs.
Sure.
Tickets, when I looked initially, before they were even available, were astronomical. They were going for over 500, and so my expectation was that I wanted access to the seats. Never in my lifetime, I've been a Sacramento resident since 1984. Never in my lifetime will we have an MLB team in our backyard. And I'm an MLB fan. My oldest played baseball, from age 6 until all the way through high school. So a huge, huge fan. And that was part of the attraction. I think part of it going into it was I thought it'd be relatively easy to clear some of the tickets. There's no way I could commit to going to 81 games.
Sure.
So my thought pattern was, hey, it should be fairly easy. If the demand this early on is that high, it should be fairly simple to clear some of those tickets. So I think as we got into the season, or at least before even the season started, I started to see that it was a little bit more challenging to navigate the secondary ticket market in order to list these games. And what I was unaware of too is the amount of fees that like the StubHubs of the world charge. They take, what people may not be aware is they take about 30% of the selling price.
Wow.
So it's yeah. So it's like, if you're, let's say a ticket goes for $100, StubHub's going to take 70 of that, or pretty close to $70 of that. Or no, my bad.
$30.
$30. Yeah, you're left with 70. So that part was, I think, I wish that MLB would get together and have little bit better of a medium of exchange, because I wasn't really necessarily looking to make money on the tickets. I just didn't want to lose money. And as I found out as the season wore on, especially for some of the less marquee games, it was, the demand for it was just not there. And so you're literally having to sell tickets at a significant loss, typically you get back less than half of what you paid. And so that part was a little bit challenging. But one thing too that I think is I'd love to get Mike's perspective is, I think there's things that they could do to make the experience a little bit better for season ticket holders. Like one example is it seemed like they would change ushers every game. So it'd be nice to get some measure of familiarity, because you're having to show your tickets to get access to your seats. I'm like, dude, I was just here last night.
Right.
It'd be nice if they give you a lanyard or something to signify that, hey, this guy's a season ticket holder. It wasn't too onerous, but there'd be a couple times, right? You hit the concessions, you come back, your hands are full, and you got to dig your phone out of your pocket to show your tickets. That part, I thought they could have done a better job of, at least recognizing season ticket holders there on the floor and to get some measure of benefit from that aspect of it. But anyway, overall, it was okay. I think, we can get into the details as to what I would do differently next time, but love to get the A's, front office some feedback as to what they could do differently, just to help kind of help with the client experience, right, and help encourage people to renew.
Mike, how was the game experience?
Yeah, Dan and I, like I was mentioning earlier, Dan and I had seats pretty close to each other, and as far as where we were location wise, it was phenomenal. I mean, we were row 11 and 12, but we were literally 8 and 9 rows behind the opposing dugout. So we could literally say something to the players and they would hear us. I mean, oftentimes people around us, would do that, hollering for a foul ball or not a foul ball, but like a infield ball or something like that. And I mean, I think, both Dan and I, we appreciate the game of baseball. So it's just, I mean, it doesn't matter if it's, Dan's Del Oro Eagles playing, or if it's the A's, we love it, so that part's great, and being that close to the field. And in comparison, what was interesting is just a couple of weeks ago, I went down and watched that last Dodger Giants series down in LA. And I had got some nice tickets from a friend of mine who's a Dodger team doctor. And I still felt like I was so far away from the field compared to the last, the 60 some odd games that I went to in Sacramento, because you're right on top of the game.
Yeah.
And so that part was great. I mean, I couldn't have asked for a better spot. I kind of just was poking around when I decided to pull the trigger on the season tickets, and I stumbled upon these, and there's literally a $5,000 difference between the row in front of me and my row. And I was like, well, I'm cheap, so I'll take that discount. So overall, it was great. I mean, the game itself and being that close, I love that part.
Yeah, I went to about 10 games this year. You're talking about the secondary market and the resale. I was lucky enough, not as a season ticket holder, to take advantage of some great deals. And, I'd be able to probably get seats similar to ones you guys were sitting at, probably about $25-$30 a piece, which I thought was a hell of a deal. But they did this at the Coliseum, and you never feel good as a customer when you go to the Coliseum and you come out. And now, granted, 95% of my experience is baseball, but that other 5%, I'd go and I get 2 beers. And I'm paying double, almost $10 more than I am for the ticket. There never seemed to be any deal. You never felt like the organization or the team, and again, this was similar to when they were at the Coliseum, reached out and said, hey, thank you, Mr. Customer. Thank you, Mr. Fan. Did you guys sense the same thing, or is it just a one-off because I went to a lot less games?
No, you raise a valid point. I think that's one of the things too. So you start to see as the season progresses, right, what your seats are going for, and they're less than half of what you paid. So you're already upside down in that regard. And then just the parking piece too, right? It's if you want to park reasonably close to the stadium, it's minimum $30. And then I did kind of, as a market exercise, check the price of beers at Sutter Park compared to other MLB stadiums, and they're 2x. It was crazy. So
oh really?
They were.
Yeah. So I was able to see, it was one of the last games of the season. It was the Giants versus the Diamondbacks, and I was down in Phoenix. So a friend of mine had decent seats, similar to kind of where my season tickets are. And again, the ticket prices, they're comparable, but what was better is that we had dinner out in right field. They have like this, it's like a burger shop, and we had basically, I didn't have beer, we had sodas, but we had 2 cheeseburgers and fries with soda, and it was like $25 for both of us. It was crazy. And so, I mean, that same and the food quality was amazing, right? We're talking, it was very decent. It was with table service too. We had table service. That same experience at Sutter Park, yeah, you're looking at probably $60.
Yeah,
Yes.
right.
I always said it was $20 an item at the ballpark, whether it was a beer or food or what. I mean, other than, popcorn or something, but yeah, you're spending a $20 bill if you're going to, give them a $1.50 and a tip or something.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
I think
the beers were $20. That's what, it was a little unnerving that I was. I kind of wish, again, if you had the season ticket lanyard, you should get some kind of discount or some kind of a little bit of a break, right? They should be encouraging that as part of that process.
Yeah, sure. And I know, like I have a buddy that does it. He's a season ticket holder at Oracle. And I think I can't remember, Booney, you may know this better, but I thought it was something around maybe 15-20% off of concessions.
There's something for sure. Yes, there is for season ticket holders. I don't know exactly what it is, but I know there's something that says, hey, Mr. Fan, thank you. And you get a little bit of a break there.
Our only break, I think, was in the fan with the merchandise shop. We got like a 20% discount throughout the season. Other than that, yeah. And then the other thing is, I mean, like to Dan's point, like the food is okay. I mean, it's ballpark food, whatever. And there's a couple things. I ended up sneaking in on a deal to where I had this passcode to where I could get some discounts, but it was like a super secret thing. And so I was able to save a little bit of money, maybe, halfway to 2/3 through the season. So I ended up trying like almost all the food. And there was a couple that were, decent. The rest was kind of meh. So it would be nice to have like a little bit more variety. And also, like, this is the thing about Sacramento. Sacramento is this quote unquote farm to fork capital of the world. And there's no farm to fork in this ballpark. And it's not like it's literally right across the bridge as you're in Sacramento. So why they couldn't bring in something like that, just kind of upgrade it a little bit.
The NFL season is here, and FanDuel has an offer you do not want to miss. Right now, new customers can bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets if you win. That's right. Pick a bet. Put down $5, and if it hits, you will unlock $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love how FanDuel gives me so many ways to play. I've built parlays, I've tried player props, and even followed the live lines during games. It makes watching football even more exciting when you have got a little something riding on the action. Whether you are a casual fan or love diving into the stats, FanDuel makes the game day experience so much better. So what are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com to download the FanDuel app today and get started. The big thing with Sacramento that they're known for is their fan base and the loyal fans, and we've heard about them with regard to the Kings, etc.
Sure.
And the big thing with regard to the A's, obviously A's right now are not the most popular product with them leaving Oakland and Sacramento being somewhat close to Oakland. And on top of that, them not taking the Sacramento name. Was that considered, as a lot of people put it, a slap in the face? And how were the crowds, not as far as size, but as far as energy at the ballpark?
Yeah, it's an interesting point. I mean, I saw on social media they, towards the end of the season, I think they've at least probably acknowledged that they missed out on that, or that's something they could have done better.
A year to read the room, like Mike said.
Yeah. I think they're just a little bit late. I think one of the things that was interesting is some of those games are very entertaining, very close. I think the fan base is pretty passionate, and it's a young nucleus of kids that I think a lot of the fan base got behind and started to appreciate. But when you're in a rally situation, you're trying to encourage the team. It's like you'd hear these like, let's go Oakland, right?
Yes.
That's so in terms of an identity, no one's going to say, let's go Athletics. I mean, maybe let's go A's, but yeah, I think unfortunately, like it or not, kind of where you're based and in the city you operate from, I think you kind of have to take on that identity. So I would like to see them maybe embrace Sacramento and hear the chance, let's go Sacramento or let's go Sac, right?
For sure. I 100% agree with that. Been very vocal. I thought they really dropped the ball in doing that and just not simply taking something that was just so obvious.
Yeah, I think they missed an opportunity for sure. Yeah,
absolutely.
It's even on the MLB site, right? You look at the alphabetical order, it says athletics and then everyone else by their city name.
Absolutely. Changes. What would you guys change if you had somebody that would make the changes tomorrow?
How much time we got?
As a season ticket holder, what were you unhappy about?
Man, I mean, I think let me start with kind of some of the positives. So, one of the executives, at least on the season ticket side, lives in my neighborhood, and I'm kind of casual friends with him. A great person. I think they're trying to do the right thing. One thing I do appreciate is, you're assigned a season ticket agent.
Okay.
And that was kind of your conduit in the A's organization. And they would reach out on every homestand and give you opportunities as a season ticket holder. So that normal fans wouldn't have. And so I was able to take advantage of several of those. One was like early access to the stadium. So you can actually watch and get down on the field for basically the fielding exercises as well as batting practice. And so you get to take advantage of that for both teams. And so I was able to do that for actually twice for the Astros, one time for the Blue Jays, and I forgot the third one, but it was the Orioles. I was down there for the Orioles as well. So that part's kind of unique. And again, my kid growing up, I was always accustomed to, having my kid an hour and a half to 2 hours ahead of the game because there's a lot of preparation that needs to go on. So it's, during those experiences, if you're an autograph seeker, it's a great opportunity to get autographs. That part of my life has kind of passed me up, but there was plenty of opportunities on both visiting side as well as home team, right? That you could take advantage of it. And one shout out to Altuve. I can tell that guy's still trying to pay penance, right, for the mistakes of the past. No one signed more autographs than Altuve. If you want an Altuve, he was there for you if you wanted one. So props to him. So, but the other thing too that they did well is had a couple opportunities because they're obviously trying to upgrade you or trying to entice you to upgrade your package. So I got a chance to experience the Salon Club for one game, and that's it was interesting, especially on the hot days. A great opportunity to seek shelter from the sun, and then it's all you can eat and drink. And then one of the last games of the season, I got a text message from my season ticket agent saying, "Hey, if you're up to it, I got an upgrade for you." And we basically I think one of the last games we sat right behind home plate.
Wow.
And again, it's the experience of you have a dedicated server and it's a full menu, all you can eat and drink. So those are the things I thought they did well. But in terms of, I think what they could do to improve, I think for the most part, right, it's I would estimate 90+% of the people going to an A's game have to park, right? You're driving in. I think that they should give you some type of parking break as a season ticket holder. I think that's paramount. Like I mentioned before about the secondary market, I think they got to come up with a medium of exchange where, I'm not looking to I'm just looking not to lose money, but I definitely, StubHub making 30% of the sales price doesn't sit well with me. And it's like, I would love to be able to, at least get back what I paid, or at least give an opportunity for a fan where StubHub's not muscling in on that. I think they could come up with a medium of exchange to kind of reduce those costs. And then, as I mentioned before, I think just a way to recognize regular season ticket holders with some type of lanyard or some type of thing to signify who you are.
Most people can't name all their financial accounts or even what they are worth, whether it's 401k, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there is Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy-to-use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you have put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you. You can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categories of your spending, and finally feel in control of your money without ever touching a spreadsheet. You can identify that you are not saving as much as you thought. For me, it was too much money on DoorDash, A's Gear, and streaming services I wasn't even using. Don't let financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at monarchmoney.com with code LOCKEDONMLB. Thank you for making Locked On A's your first listen every day. For your second listen, find the all-night Locked On MLB game night. Every game, every night until a World Series champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find MLB game night on Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. $1 million question. Are you guys going to renew?
It was so like from a financial standpoint. So this is kind of it doesn't make any sense to renew. Let me put it that way. Here's the reason why. So like I said, I sold 47 games. I had in order to make up some of the losses, like for no one really wants to see the Rangers. No one wants to see Minnesota or Seattle for that measure. I'm selling for less than half of what I paid. And so to make up for that, right, and now I'm selling Giants tickets, I'm selling Yankees tickets. And so you make decent money on those to make up for the losses. So what it left me with was a bunch of mediocre games. I did get to see the Cubs, which I'm thrilled about. And I did get to see one Yankees game, but for a lot of it was just a lot of, just mediocre teams. And so when you look at the ticket price, I can buy my seat for $45 or half of what I paid. Why would I enter into an agreement to pay more than 2x what I can get on the open market? So, and with the cost of parking, and then you factor in concessions, I'm definitely going to go to probably 10 plus games next year. I intend on it, but it just doesn't make a lot of sense, financial sense, given kind of where the A's are at. I mean, it may have been a different story to Mike's point, I'm super thrilled about the young nucleus of talent. I think the 1 through 5 they have in their starting lineup. I think if Butler's bat came around, now you got 6 legit tough hitters. There's a couple spots you got to figure out, and then like the pitching, I think they're right on the cusp of being a playoff team. And I think if they were more competitive, I think it definitely would have driven attendance, and they probably would have sustained some of those ticket prices. But for my need, I think I can see plenty of games next year with really good seats for less than half of what the season ticket holders are going to pay. So I was like, it doesn't make financial sense.
Mike?
Yeah, no, I would mimic exactly what Dan said. I don't anticipate doing it. They have given some offers, right? I think it's you can get better seats. I can't remember what it was. Maybe like up to same price, but up to like what's now the $140 ticket value. I'm not exactly sure what that is. So with the fact that I can't get the on the open market too, it's like I'm not going to get any money back. Is it that big of a deal to move over a little bit and closer down to the field at $140 maybe? But I just don't see it. Again, if I can spend $20-$30 and go to any game that I want, maybe outside of the big names, but it doesn't make financial sense. I could spend that money, I think, somewhere else. And
let me ask you a question. If they didn't have the May they had, and let's say they flip-flop August for May, and let's say they stuck into the wild card this year, or we're in contention, or go out and sign a flashy new free agent, would that change at all?
Winning is going to bring butts and seats.
Sure, right.
So that's, Booney, you and I were we were doing the ticket packages for the Kings in the late 90s, and you remember what that was like.
Absolutely.
We couldn't wait to get to those games.
Sure.
So obviously, like if they start putting the butts in the seats, and that could change my perspective going into year 3 at the ballpark, where maybe I return to being a season ticket holder. Maybe they start improving things. But as of right now, I don't, and I just, we know the game of baseball. It takes a bit for like this type of team to kind of turn the corner and do something. I certainly think they're very capable of being a 500 team. They could, maybe even be 10 games over 500. But it's going to be a couple of years, I think, until we see some sort of, really successful winning team there. So yeah, I don't, time will tell. But I guess to answer your question, if all of a sudden they were winning 90 games in the season, well, hell yeah, that changes everything.
Dan, to piggyback on what Mike's saying, two things. First question is, would it change if they were winning? And also, were the tickets priced fairly from the get-go?
Let me answer the second question first. I don't think anybody knew, right? I kind of did a little bit of research and said, based on where they've been and how small the ballpark is and how well the Kings have done. There's definitely more games than a Kings season, but I thought it'd be fairly easy to unload tickets. I didn't think I was gonna have as much of a struggle as I did. So, I mean, in hindsight, on an average game, my seats sold for half of what I paid. So that tells you right there, they weren't priced fairly. Obviously there's some element of market dynamics, but we don't have that luxury. It's when we buy a season ticket, you're paying one price for all 81 games. So it's just, I don't know. I think they may have to think through that and kind of adjust based on the quality of the teams that are coming in. To answer your first question on, there was some elements. So definitely when the Astros were in town, right? The Astros were vying for a playoff spot. And the A's have owned the Astros. So there was definitely a kind of a little bit of, something on the line there. And you can definitely tell the A's knew it and they wanted to play for something. And even on the giveaway night, there was 10,000 people there, some rowdy Royals fans. And you can tell fans are passionate. They want the team to win. And there was a brawl in the stands. That tells you how passionate the team is. So if you get that element, that was probably one of the more fun things that at the ballpark was actually we're bringing one section over from abroad because we were all into the game and everybody was passionate about what was going on. So I think and that would only be magnified in a pennant race where they have an opportunity to play for something legitimate. I think that'd be an amazing experience in that small of a park. But would it change my feeling? To be honest, I would just overpay for a playoff ticket if it came.
Makes sense. I got you. Last question, guys. 2028 Las Vegas. What's your thoughts on literally right now? The fan base is about as dead as there is in all of professional sports for a couple of reasons. The hatred Oakland has towards the A's for leaving, in Sacramento only for a temporary period of time and not taking the Sacramento city names another. And Vegas, no matter how often we talk about it, it's still a few years away. So I've never seen a fan base as dead as this one is in all of sports for now. Will things get better in Vegas?
Vegas is the place where everyone goes, right, from across the country. So, if you're a Cubs fan, if you're a Cincinnati Reds fan or whatever, it's like, well, what a great weekend. My home team is playing in Vegas, so I'm gonna be out there. So I could see it not being necessarily having it'll still be the home field, but not having that home field advantage, so to speak, from a fan perspective. And I don't know. I just don't know where we saw what the attendance was like at the Coliseum over the last I don't know. It's been
57 years.
I was going to say, I felt like it was that way when I was in college, which was in the mid to late 90s when what's his face owned it, the developer guy.
Schott and Hoffman,
Schott, yeah. And I remember going to games in college and still being able to walk down and more or less sit right behind the dugout. Yeah. So it's been who is? I don't know. I know that the fans exist, but they haven't had a fun place to go visit a stadium.
Yeah, right.
Coliseum. And then, you transition here and you got the Oakland, the diehard Oakland fans that have, used to go to the Coliseum. Well, they're giving the bird to the ownership and the team and stuff. Not necessarily the team, but the ownership, I guess.
Yeah.
So then you didn't see that. You didn't see that translate into attendance at the A's game. And I think, Booney, we had talked about it earlier too, is like they technically, sold out season tickets, right? But again, I went to so many games, and other than like the Cubs, other than like the Yankees, the Giants, Phillies had good attendance. There just was,
Red Sox
giveaways.
Yeah, Red Sox. And Red Sox were even I went to the afternoon game for the Red Sox, and it felt like it was half full. But, you get some 3/4, 2/3 filled. So I don't know. Is Vegas the answer? Maybe they got some magic marketing idea up their sleeve. The fact that they're in Vegas might, is definitely going to help as long as, Vegas attendance stays up. But, time will tell, and we shall see.
I think that at the end of the day, they got to win.
Yeah. 100%. I think that's well, yeah, they got to be competitive.
Most teams, right? I mean, 80% of the teams out there.
Yeah, I do have one funny story that made me think of when Dan mentioned about the angry people in the stands at the Royals game. It was like one of those things that you were just waiting to see it on Instagram or something. But earlier in the season, when the A's were playing we're playing Seattle, the guy that had Dan's seats. This big guy, he and his wife, a Giants fan, and he just starts peppering Rowdy Tellez. And Rowdy being an Elk Grove guy, the whole section to our right was oftentimes friends and family and all that kind of stuff. And so he's every single time Rowdy pokes his head out of the dugout or runs to first, because he played first base that day, this guy would just yell, "Rowdy!" like over and over and over again. And the family and friends start getting annoyed, right? So anyways, I'm giggling because the guy's harmless. He's not like cussing at him or doing anything like that. And so at some point I was like, what's the deal with Rowdy? And he's like, I don't know. He's like, it's just a guy on the team. And he's like, a year or two ago, my wife and I went to the Giants game, and they were playing. Rowdy Tellez was out there, and I just caught on to the name. And so I started picking on him there, and then come to the A's, and here he is. So anyway, long story short, friends and family start getting like a little bit heated, and they're like giving him dirty looks and all this kind of stuff. And so I told him, I was like, yeah, well, the guy, he's kind of a local, he's a, Elk Grove kid. And he's like, I don't know that, he's like, whatever. So one guy is really mad, and he's like, you need to shut up. And the guy's like, whoa, easy, So next thing you know, Rowdy's dad walks up and starts chatting to the dude. And the guy's like, oh, no, man, whatever. And he's like, who are you? And the guy's like, oh, Rowdy's my kid. And the guy was like, the beer guy was walking by, and he's like, beer guy, get this guy a beer. So he buys Rowdy Tellez a beer, right? Or his dad a beer. Fast forward, he gets released. He goes to the Rangers, was it?
Yes, he does, yeah.
Where I go to the Rangers game, and I look over the section next to me, and he's sitting in the friends and family selection. The section was cheering on Rowdy Tellez, whatever. And it's like, I saw him, and I was like, please tell me that you got the free tickets to this. He's like, yeah. He's like, Tellez's dad hooked him up with seats.
That is great. That is great.
Yeah, that's pretty funny.
That is awesome.